Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a modern digital fable called The Mirror of the Heart. It's this beautifully bite-sized story from our source material that offers a surprisingly profound look at human nature. Plus, it really shows how timeless themes manage to survive and even thrive in today's fast-paced digital landscape. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. Seriously, take a second right now and just imagine this for yourself. If you were walking all alone and stumbled upon a magical artifact in some dusty, forgotten, abandoned marketplace, and it promised to show you a hidden treasure, what would you naturally expect to see? Like piles of shimmering gold coins, a map to a secret chest? Keep that vivid image in your head as we explore the journey of the protagonist in our source text. Section 1. The Abandoned Marketplace Discovery. You know, every great story starts with a really compelling setting, right? And the text here sets the stage simply but so effectively. A poor, kind-hearted girl discovers an old golden mirror in an abandoned marketplace. I want you to really visualize this stark contrast. On the one hand, you have a destitute girl standing in this desolate, completely forgotten place. And on the other hand, you have this striking, gleaming, old golden mirror just resting there among the ruins. It is the absolute classic setup for a life-changing, magical encounter. Section 2. The Mirror's Mysterious Voice. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the vital shift that happens right when the artifact activates. When the girl looks into it, the source tells us a mysterious voice whispers, "This mirror reveals the treasure hidden inside your heart." Notice that shift? In most folklore or fairy tales, a magical artifact typically leads a poor protagonist straight to external material wealth to solve all their problems. But here, the promise is entirely internal. It's all about revealing the wealth that's already residing inside of her. Section 3. A Vision of Kindness. This is where the narrative actively subverts our typical expectations, which, as we know, is a classic and highly effective literary technique. It pivots heavily on a single powerful word, instead. Instead of seeing gold or jewels, which, let's be honest, is exactly what you and I naturally expect when we hear the word treasure, the reflection reveals something completely different. It shows her helping hungry children and comforting lonely travelers. So the mirror replaces that anticipated material wealth with a literal visual reflection of her own past acts of service and compassion. It masterfully redefines the very concept of what a treasure actually is. Section 4. The Cycle of Reciprocity. Let's move on and see how this builds, because having established this magical vision, the story grounds us right back in reality by shifting the timeline. The pacing of this fable up to this point is remarkably quick, almost breathless, really. We go from the discovery in step 1 to the whisper in step 2 and the vision in step 3 in a matter of magical seconds. But then the timeline forces a pause and shifts to step 4, the next morning. The magic of the mirror doesn't just instantly fix her poverty overnight with a zap of a wand. Rather, the revelation serves as a catalyst for what happens next in the daylight. Our source text actually distills a massive, life-altering shift in her world into one powerful sentence. The next morning, everyone she had previously helped returns to her. And they don't just return with simple words of gratitude. They bring tangible reciprocity. Gifts, food, support. By breaking this down, we can really appreciate the profound cycle of reciprocity happening here. Her past kindness, the very treasure the mirror highlighted, is now manifesting as physical communal support in her time of real need. It's just brilliant. Section 5. The True Hidden Treasure. And this brings us to the core philosophical lesson of the narrative. The poor girl rises from her destitute origins in that abandoned marketplace to become one of the most respected people in the entire kingdom. But the text explicitly gives us the reason why. Not because of magic, but because her kindness inspired others. The golden mirror was ultimately just a reflection tool. The real magic, the actual engine of her success, was her ability to inspire her community. The magical artifact is rendered entirely secondary to her own enduring character. So the crucial point is beautifully summarized by the fable's moral. The greatest treasure isn't hidden in a mirror, it's hidden in a good heart. It's a beautifully simple, reverent summary. True wealth isn't some external object we find out in the world. It's the internal capacity for goodness that we cultivate within ourselves and then choose to share with the world around us. Section 6. A Modern Digital Fable. And this brilliantly illustrates a fascinating point. Now that we've unpacked the story itself, we have to look at the wrapper it was actually published in. The source explicitly mentions being inspired by the classic text 1001 Nights, and it heavily utilizes those classic storytelling tropes, like the magical artifact and the pure-hearted protagonist. But to sustain this type of classic storytelling today, the account at Viral Logi has to package this ancient wisdom with highly modern and honestly, slightly ironic calls to action. Like, comment, share, and follow. It's a fascinating, almost amusing look at how profound ancient oral traditions have seamlessly evolved into these highly shareable, bite-sized social media posts perfectly designed for modern algorithmic engagement. Which brings us to our final and perhaps most important thought. We've explored the journey of the kind-hearted girl in the marketplace, we've broken down the cycle of reciprocity, and we've even looked at the modern mechanics of how this story is shared online today. But the true power of a fable like this is how it applies directly to you. What hidden treasures are currently waiting to be revealed in your own heart? If you were to stumble upon and look into that golden mirror today, what acts of kindness and connection would reflect back at you? Take that poignant thought with you, engage in some deep self-reflection, and keep cultivating that inner treasure. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time.